Okay, something is seriously off. At 8:47 a.m. in London, the gates of Buckingham Palace closed without warning.
No ceremony, no announcement, just silence. And when a palace goes silent like that,
It's never about flowers or charity dinners.
it's about damage control.
Because overnight, whispers turned into wildfire. Prince William has reportedly demanded a private genetic review connected to his own brother's children.
Yes, you heard that right.
And if that sounds extreme, wait. Sources claim a sealed file marked lineal review was rushed from Kensington Palace straight to Windsor Castle under armed escort. The Royal Commission? Activated. The Royal Medical Household?
On standby. And Meghan Markle?
Suddenly posting a cryptic message from Montecito that read, "Truth doesn't fear scrutiny." Coincidence? Or calculated move? For years, the Valoian monarchy has survived scandals, interviews, and streaming exposés.
But this feels different.
This feels internal.
Strategic. Personal.
Because when a future king questions bloodlines, it's no longer family drama.
It's constitutional shockwaves.
So the real question is this about protecting tradition?
Or protecting power? And why now?
Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the less comfortable this gets.
The silence didn't last long.
Within hours of those gates closing, the rumors started leaking through London like smoke under a locked door.
At first it was subtle. A cancelled appearance here.
A postponed charity gala there. Then came the detail that made insiders sit up straight. Prince Harry had not been informed in advance.
Let that sink in.
If this were routine protocol, if this were just administrative housekeeping, wouldn't the younger prince be looped in? Instead, sources close to Kensington Palace claim Harry found out the same way everyone else did, through whispers bouncing between journalists and palace aides. And that's when it stopped being a quiet review. It became a confrontation. Because according to a senior archivist connected to Royal Archivist, and yes, we double-checked that this person actually exists within Buckingham Palace's orbit, a document titled Preliminary Lineal Clarification was drafted late last week. Not by Harry's legal team.
Not by Meghan Markle's advisors.
But by officials aligned with Prince William himself. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. The document reportedly outlines procedural irregularities surrounding the birth documentation of Archie and Lilibet. Not illegitimacy.
Not denial.
Just irregularities. But in royal language, irregularities might as well mean sirens and flashing red lights. We're talking about missing physician sign-offs from the royal medical household. We're talking about discrepancies in travel logs between Montecito and California during critical timeline windows. We're talking about a last-minute amendment filed weeks after Archer's official registry entry, an amendment that quietly updated Meghan Markle's listed title. And before anyone screams conspiracy, understand this. In monarchies, paperwork is oxygen. If it doesn't align, the entire structure starts gasping. Sources claim Prince William wasn't angry.
He was methodical.
One palace aide described him as coldly precise, saying he reviewed the DNA lab preliminary findings personally before requesting a second, independent assessment. And here's the twist. That second review wasn't even about paternity.
It was about procedural authenticity. Translation?
It wasn't "Are these Harry's children?" It was "Were the rules followed exactly as the Crown requires?" And that distinction changes everything. Because if you're Harry, that feels like a technicality weaponized. If you're Meghan, it feels like a public humiliation dressed up as compliance. And if you're William, it feels like protecting a 1,000-year-old system that cannot afford a crack, not even a small one.
But let's talk about the elephant standing in the throne room. Why now?
Why would William trigger a review years after Archer's birth? Why activate the Royal Commission, a body that hasn't stirred in decades, over what could have remained a private clarification? Insiders point to one word: succession. With King Charles reportedly scaling back public duties, conversations about future transitions are happening more openly than ever before. And when succession discussions heat up, bloodlines suddenly become very, very serious business. One anonymous courtier told me, and I quote, "The Crown doesn't gamble on optics.
It eliminates doubt."
That's not a brother speaking. That's an institution speaking through him. Meanwhile, over at Montecito, Meghan's inner circle has gone into strategic lockdown. Social media activity reduced. Public statements tightened. And yet, a single image posted late last night shows Archie and Lilibet playing under sunset captions simply, "Unshaken."
Unshaken.
Bold choice of words.
Because make no mistake, shaken is exactly how London feels right now. Financial markets tied to royal tourism dipped slightly this morning.
Commentators on state networks are suddenly discussing lineal clarity like it's a trending dance challenge. Even Kate Middleton has reportedly postponed an appearance at Kensington Palace, fueling speculation about internal alignment.
Is she standing with William? Is she staying neutral? No official answers. Only controlled silence.
And in royal crises, silence is never accidental.
The real shock isn't that questions are being asked. It's that they are being asked publicly.
Because once a monarchy begins clarifying bloodlines in open air, it's no longer just about procedure.
It's about perception.
And perception, in 2026, spreads faster than any royal decree.
So here we are.
A future king demanding precision.
A younger prince blindsided. A duchess refusing to blink.
And two children at the center of a storm they never asked for. If this is just paperwork, it's the loudest paperwork London has ever heard.
And if it's more than that,
then what we're witnessing isn't a review.
It's a reckoning.
And just when London thought it had absorbed the shock, the leaks began. Not official statements. Not polished press releases stamped with the seal of Buckingham Palace. Leaks. A blurred photograph of a document circulating in private political circles. A screenshot of what appears to be a financial transfer linked to a medical consultancy. An audio clip, heavily distorted, of a voice allegedly saying, "The optics must be controlled before the transition."
Before the transition. Transition of what?
That single phrase has detonated speculation across the entire realm. Because according to sources tied to Private Secretary's office, the Royal Commission didn't just request document verification. They requested timeline reconstruction.
Travel logs. Private jet manifests.
Medical correspondences between the royal medical household and an external facility in California.
And here's where the temperature rises.
An investigative blogger in London claims a payment, nearly £500,000, was transferred 3 weeks before Archer's birth to a discreet institution known as the Mexico Clinic. Now, before anyone spirals, let's be clear, there is zero official confirmation of what that payment was for. But the Mexico Clinic's specialty? High-privacy gestational coordination for elite clients.
Again, not proof.
But in royal politics, perception is gasoline. Within hours, the hashtag #LinealGate started trending across Valoria's digital platforms. Supporters of Prince Harry called it a smear campaign orchestrated to weaken his public image ahead of future succession debates. Loyalists to Prince William called it necessary scrutiny to protect constitutional continuity.
The realm split in half overnight.
One anonymous palace insider reportedly told a state correspondent, "No one is questioning love.
This is about lineage compliance."
Lineage compliance.
That phrase is now everywhere.
And then came the DNA lab memo, not the results, those remain sealed, but a procedural note confirming that the original DNA submission had minor documentation gaps.
Nothing about the science. Everything about the chain of custody.
Chain of custody. In legal terms, that's technical. In royal terms, that's explosive. Because if the sample handling wasn't conducted under royal medical household supervision, it creates space for doubt. Not about biology, but about process. And process, as William's allies quietly emphasize, is the backbone of monarchy. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle broke her silence. Not with a formal statement. With a 47-second video clip posted at exactly midnight from Montecito.
No background music. No palace flags. Just her voice.
"If systems require suspicion to survive," she said calmly, "perhaps the system is weaker than the children it questions."
4 to 7 seconds. 20 million views.
The clip ignited international commentary. Influencers, historians, even former constitutional advisors weighing in.
Is this a mother defending her family?
Or a calculated narrative move designed to pressure Buckingham Palace in the court of public opinion? Because make no mistake, public opinion is now the third player in this chess match.
Windsor Castle remains silent. Kensington Palace lights are burning late.
And somewhere inside Buckingham Palace, a sealed report sits on a polished oak table waiting to be opened. When it is, this stops being rumor.
It becomes verdict. And not everyone is ready for that.
By sunrise, London didn't feel like a capital.
It felt like a countdown.
Because at 6:12 a.m., unmarked vehicles entered the private east gate of Windsor Castle.
No sirens. No press advisory.
Just tinted windows and a level of security usually reserved for constitutional emergencies.
And that's when insiders confirmed it.
The sealed DNA lab findings had been delivered.
Not emailed. Not summarized. Hand-carried. Bound. Stamped. Locked.
Inside Buckingham Palace, members of the Royal Commission assembled in person for the first time in over 2 decades.
Princess Anne reportedly arrived without her usual media escort. Prince Edward cancelled an overseas engagement mid-flight.
Even Queen Camilla was seen entering through a secondary corridor rarely used for public appearances. When senior royals move like that, it's not theater. It's crisis containment. By mid-morning, controlled whispers began filtering out. The DNA itself? Confirmed biological linkage between Prince Harry and both children.
No ambiguity there.
But here's the twist that turned relief into fresh tension. The report allegedly flagged procedural deviations during the original birth registrations. No royal medical household official present at final certification. An amended registry filed weeks later. Documentation that, while legal, did not follow the exact ceremonial protocol required for direct lineal acknowledgement.
Not fraud. Not denial. But deviation.
And deviation, in a monarchy built on precedent, is radioactive. Prince William's position, according to one aide, was non-emotional.
He wasn't questioning family.
He was reinforcing framework the Crown, the aide reportedly said, cannot afford informal exceptions in matters of succession.
King Charles, however, is said to be torn. A grandfather looking at grandchildren. A monarch looking at history.
And somewhere between those two roles lies a decision that could redefine the monarchy for an entire generation. By afternoon, financial analysts were discussing potential impacts on royal trust foundations. Constitutional scholars debated whether the Royal Commission even has authority to suspend recognition pending procedural review. Social media?
A battlefield.
Supporters of Meghan Markle call it a targeted humiliation disguised as governance. Supporters of Prince William call it necessary transparency in an era where perception spreads faster than decree. Meanwhile, Prince Harry has reportedly remained inside Windsor Castle, declining all communication, including calls from Montecito. That detail alone has fueled a new wave of speculation. Is this unity behind closed doors? Or fracture?
No official statement has been released.
No titles have been revoked.
No public ceremony has been scheduled. Just silence, but it's not empty silence. It's loaded.
Because if the Royal Commission moves forward with a procedural clarification order, it could temporarily place Archie and Lilibet under a status review, not removing them, but freezing ceremonial acknowledgement until documentation is fully aligned with Crown standards.
A pause. A technical pause.
But in public perception, pauses echo like verdicts.
So here we are.
The biology confirmed. The paperwork questioned. The institution divided between tradition and optics.
And a family caught between loyalty and legacy.
If Prince William pushes forward, he secures the system. If he softens, he risks setting a precedent that future historians may scrutinize for centuries.
The sealed report has been read.
The debate has begun. And whatever decision emerges from Windsor Castle won't just affect 2 children. It will define what the Crown values more, blood, or the rules that govern it.
So now the question isn't what the report said. We know that. The question is what happens next.
Because when a monarchy like this goes silent, it's never random.
It's strategic. It's calculated.
And it usually means decisions are being drafted behind doors the public will never walk through.
2 children. 1 sealed report.
A council divided between tradition and survival. And a future king who may have just drawn a line that can't be erased.
Do you believe this is about protecting protocol?
Or does it feel like something deeper, something personal? Was this a necessary move to protect the Crown, or a power play wrapped in constitutional language?
Drop your thoughts below. I want real opinions.
Because history isn't written in castles anymore. It's written in public reaction. If you think this is just the beginning of a bigger fracture inside Windsor Castle, say it. If you believe Prince William is right to demand absolute procedural precision, defend it. And if you think Meghan Markle is being quietly cornered under the banner of tradition, don't stay silent.
Share this with someone who follows royal politics. Subscribe if you want the next update the moment it breaks.
Because something tells me this silence won't last long. And when Windsor Castle speaks, it won't be a whisper.